Hi everybody, hope all of you are well. Today we will continue this chapter aldehyde, ketones and carboxylic acid. Last day we discussed up to the addition of Grignard reagents. Today I will start from addition of sodium bisulfite. When an aldehyde or a ketone is treated with saturated solution of sodium bisulfite, the product separates as a crystalline solid. If we take here this acetaldehyde and if we give sodium bisulfite, then there will be formation of this product, that will be acetaldehyde sodium bisulfite. Okay. Next, if we take the acetone, if we add sodium bisulfite, that will give the acetone sodium bisulfite. Okay. So what is the mechanism here? So this reaction is valid both for aldehyde and ketone, and there will be addition of sodium bisulfite. So first NaHSO3 will dissociate to Na plus and HSO3 minus. This HSO3 minus is the nucleophile that will attack this positive center of the carbon. Okay, and that bond, that pi bond will break. So it will form this type of product. Now from this SO3H there will be proton transfer. From this OH bond there will be addition of proton to this OH, and finally there will be formation of, by addition of Na plus, that is the addition product, that is acetaldehyde sodium bisulfite, or if it is ketone, then ketone sodium bisulfite product. Okay. Now in this case the bisulfite, this bisulfite addition compounds get decomposed back to the original carbonyl compounds on warming with dilute HCl or base. So in this product, that means addition product, if we give dilute HCl and if we warm this, then we will get back the acetone. Okay. And if we take sodium carbonate, okay, and if we apply heat, okay, a little bit of warm, then we will get back the acetone. Okay. So this reaction can be used for the purification and separation of carbonyl compounds from those substances which do not react with sodium bisulfite. Suppose in a reaction or in a mixture, okay, in a mixture there is ketone, that means acetone is present, as well as there is other compounds like ether is present. How to separate, or how to separate these two compounds? So if we add sodium bisulfite, then we will get a crystal product, other will remain in the solution. Okay. So if we take this addition product, then if we add HCl and 1, then we will get back the acetone or get back the corresponding aldehyde or ketone. Okay. And in this way we can easily purify. Understand? Now this ink has some sticky property. It's very difficult to rub. Sometimes we have to use Next we will discuss the addition of Grignard reagent. Last day we have discussed up to the addition of HCl, hydrogen cyanide. So today we will discuss the addition of Grignard reagents. So Grignard reagent, you know, that is general formula is RMGX. Aldehydes and ketones react with Grignard reagents and followed by acidic hydrolysis will yield the corresponding alcohols. So if I take, already discussed in alcohol part, okay, if I take any aldehyde or ketone, if we add methyl magnesium bromide, then what will happen? This methyl will attack here and finally we will get the CH3OMgBr. And if we hydrolyzed by H3O plus we will get the primary alcohol. Okay. But if we take the acetaldehyde, if we add this Grignard reagent and if we add acid, then there will be formation of secondary alcohol. And if we take acetone, if we add methyl magnesium bromide and give H plus and H2O, definitely there will be formation of tertiary alcohol. The mechanism already here discussed. Okay. Hope all of you can understand. We have already discussed this part in your alcohol chapter. Next we will discuss one very important reaction that is called Brady's reagent reaction. Okay. So this carbonyl group, it may be aldehyde or it may be ketone, that will react with Brady's reagent, that is 2,4-dinitrophenyl hydrazine. What is the structure of this compound? This one, NH2. This one is called phenyl hydrazine. At 2 and 4 position, this is 2 position and 4 position, there will be nitro group. So this reagent is called 2,4-dinitrophenyl hydrazine. 2,4-dinitrophenyl hydrazine. Okay. Now these aldehydes and ketones readily react with this 2,4-DNP or 2,4-dinitrophenyl hydrazone to form 2,4-dinitrophenyl hydrazones. It is reacting with 2,4-dinitrophenyl hydrazine and forming 2,4-dinitrophenyl hydrazones. Okay. So if I write one reaction, then you can easily understand. This one is acetaldehyde that will react with here is one nitro group and here is one nitro group. And this amine will react with this carbonyl group. And this compound is known as acetaldehyde 2,4-dinitrophenyl hydrazone, and there will be formation of water. This water is eliminating here from. Okay. So in this way, acetaldehyde also acetaldehyde will react. In this way, acetone also react. Okay. If we write the reaction of acetone, you will get the same type of product. Okay, acetone 2,4-dinitrophenyl hydrazone. And this test is used to identify the carbonyl group in a compound. Both aldehydes and ketones have carbonyl group. Okay, and this carbonyl group, that means CO group, will give positive test. Okay, to this DNP test. That means if you take the carbonyl group, definitely there will be, how to understand, there will be orange or yellow orange type PPT. One precipitate of 2,4-dinitrophenyl hydrazine will form. Okay. Sometimes acetone, it is also soluble, very difficult to get this precipitate. So then we have to add little bit of concentrated sulfuric acid and we have to scratch the glass wall of the test tube. Then we get the PPT, okay, of this 2,4-dinitrophenyl hydrazone. Okay, and that is generally orange in color. So this test is very important. If we get the positive test, definitely there will be presence of carbonyl group, okay, CO group. So by this test, CO group is confirmed. And this reagent is known as Brady's reagent, okay, that you also have to remember. Next we will discuss oxidation of aldehydes and ketones. Oxidation reaction. Aldehydes undergo oxidation with common oxidants like KMnO4 and potassium dichromate to give the corresponding carboxylic acid. If we take acetaldehyde, in presence of KNO4 it will give acetic acid. Aldehydes are easily oxidized, but ketones undergo oxidation with difficulty. For ketones, strong oxidants or oxidizing agents are required like KMnO4 sulfuric acid, potassium dichromate sulfuric acid, sometimes concentrated nitric acid also required. Okay, if we take acetone, okay, then if we have to add concentrated nitric acid for oxidation. Here this carbon-carbon bond will break and there will be formation of formic acid plus acetic acid. Two acid will be formed. Okay. Now in case of unsymmetrical ketone, the keto group remains preferential with the smaller alkyl group, and this rule is called Popov's rule. Popov's rule. Okay, that is POFF, Popov's rule. If we take one example, then you can easily understand that CH3CO, CH2, CH3. This is what? This is butanol. Okay. Here if we give the concentrated nitric acid as oxidizing agent, then what will be the major product? Definitely this will not break. Here it will break. It will form CH3COOH plus there will be formation of CH3CH2COOH. One is acetic acid, another is the corresponding propanoic acid. Okay, now which one is the major product? This one will be the major product. So from here we can easily understand this Popov's rule, that is the in case of unsymmetrical ketones, the keto groups remains preferentially with the smaller alkyl group. Okay, next we will discuss another very important reaction. Okay, that test you will perform in practical also, and that reaction or this type of oxidation is called Tollens reagent or Tollens oxidation. Tollens reagent. First we have to know how this Tollens reagent is prepared. We have to take silver nitrate, then you have to add a base, then there will be formation of silver hydroxide, then if you have to add dropwise ammonium hydroxide until just a clear solution is formed. And here the compound form is diamine silver hydroxide. Okay, so this reagent is called the Tollens reagent. So here what is the reaction? Silver nitrate is reacting with ammonium hydroxide or sodium hydroxide, forming the silver hydroxide plus ammonium nitrate. Okay, and this silver hydroxide will react with again ammonium hydroxide, and there will be formation of one complex. Okay, that is AgNH3 whole twice. Okay, plus OH minus plus twice H2, and this is called Tollens reagent. Now this reagent, if we add any aldehyde, it may be aliphatic aldehyde or it may be aromatic aldehyde. If we apply heat in a water bath, after some time what you will observe? There will be a silver mirror on the glass wall. Okay, that means this Ag plus, okay, will be reduced to silver Ag0, and there will be a shining mirror on the glass wall, and that is why this reaction is also called silver mirror test. Okay, now what is the reaction? If we take any aldehyde, suppose we are taking the acetaldehyde, plus we have to add this reagent, that is twice AgNH3 whole twice plus OH minus, okay, plus thrice OH minus, then it will form that acid, aldehyde will be oxidized to acid. Okay, that will form CH3COO minus, plus there will be formation of silver deposition, plus there will be formation of 4 ammonia and twice H2. So this silver deposit will form mirror on the glass wall. Okay, so this Tollens reagent oxidizes aldehyde to carboxylic acid, and the aldehyde reduce Ag plus ions to tolerance reagent to metallic silver. Okay, and this metallic silver on the glass wall will form a mirror. That is why this reaction is called silver mirror test. Ketones do not respond to this test. Okay, so this is the identification test for aldehydes. Next we will discuss Fehling test. That is also very important, that also you will perform in your laboratory. Fehling's test. Now what is Fehling solution? Fehling solution is a 50-50 mixture of copper sulfate solution as well as Rochley salt solution. What is Rochley salt? This is sodium potassium tartrate. That is a mixed salt solution. Okay, tartaric acid, sodium potassium salt. So it contains complex copper tartrate. When heated with aldehydes, that Cu2 plus ion of this Fehling solution oxidizes aldehyde to carboxylic acid, and the aldehyde reduced Cu2 plus ions to brick red precipitate of cuprous oxide. So whenever we heat the solution with this aldehyde will heat with this solution, that means Fehling solution, there will be color change. First this blue color solution will slowly turn into yellow, first it will be green to yellow to brick red or brown red type of compound. Now what will be the reaction? In this case the reaction is same, that is aldehyde will convert into acid, and here the reagent is twice Cu2 plus 5OH minus, and this is the Fehling's reagent, okay, or Fehling solution. It will form CH3COO minus plus there will be formation of Cu2O, that is the cuprous oxide. Cupric oxide is black, Cu2O is cuprous oxide, that is red in color or brick red, or you can tell brown red color, okay, and formation of thrice H2. Ketones do not respond to this test. Now Benedict solution, it is an alkaline solution of complex cupric citrate. So here we are using citric acid complex, okay, and the formation of complex prevents the precipitation of cupric hydroxide in alkaline solution. Here also the same reaction. This is also the Benedict solution reagent, okay. It will form CH3COO minus Cu2O plus water. There will be formation of brick-red precipitation. Now this Fehling solution and Benedict solutions are very weak oxidizing agent. These can oxidize only aliphatic aldehydes but are not capable of oxidizing aromatic aldehydes such as benzaldehydes. Okay. So these Fehling's solution or Benedict solution only respond for aliphatic aldehydes. Aromatic aldehyde will not respond to this test. Okay, that you have to remember. And alpha hydroxy ketone also give positive tolerance and Fehling's test. That also you have to keep in mind. Next we will discuss haloform reaction. Haloform I think this part I have also discussed in haloalkanes, although I will discuss here. Actually aldehydes and all methyl ketones can be easily oxidized by sodium hypohalite solution, that is chlorine, bromine, iodine in presence of sodium hydroxide to yield haloform. Haloform may be chloroform, bromoform, iodoform, and the reaction is known as haloform reaction. Okay, so whenever we are taking that iodine, then there will be formation of CHI3, that is called iodoform. Okay, I am giving one reaction so that you can understand. So here we are taking the aldehyde having the ketomethyl group. This is ketomethyl CH3CO group, okay, and here it will react with iodine NaOH and it will form Ci3CHO plus thrice HI. Okay, now this CI3CHO will react with NaOH. Okay, sorry, CI3CHO will react with NaOH. Okay, and in presence of the base NaOH is given already, that will form CHI3. Plus there will be formation of the acid HCOONA, sodium formate. Sodium formate will form. If we take acetone, okay, there will be same product, and this product will form yellow precipitate, that is called iodoform. CHI3 is called iodoform. Understand? Acetone also will respond to this test because having this ketomethyl group CH3CO, CH3. Here also it will react with thrice iodine in presence of NaOH, that will form Ci3COCH3 plus thrice HI. Okay. Now this Ci3COCH3 will react with NaOH forming CHI3, that is iodoform, and there will be formation of CH3COONA, that is sodium acetate will form. Okay. So due to the formation of yellow precipitate of iodoform in this reaction, it is also known as iodoform test. It may be noted that haloform reaction is given by all compounds containing CH3CO group, and the compounds which on oxidation with halogen and alkali yield compounds having CH3CO group. Common compounds which responds to these haloform reactions are alcohol, that means only the alcohol, that is ethyl alcohol C2CH3CH2OH, acetaldehyde having the ketomethyl group. Actually alcohol also it will convert by oxidation of iodine and NaOH, it will convert to CH3CO group, and acetone having CH3CO group, or you can think about butanone, you can think about the ketones containing CH3CO group. Okay, and sometimes the secondary alcohol like CH3CHOH, CH3. Okay, this will also respond to this test. Thus this reaction can be used for characterizing compounds containing the CH3CO group or any such CH3CHOH, okay, which can be oxidized to CH3CO group. It can be used to distinguish between some carbonyl compounds. So if we take the example, you can understand what type of compound we can distinguish by this haloform reaction. First here we are taking the three compounds. One is formaldehyde, another is acetaldehyde, another we are taking that propanaldehyde. Now in these three compound, which one has ketomethyl group? This one has ketomethyl group, so this one will give the positive iodoform test, and this will not give that iodoform test. Okay, so acetaldehyde, due to the presence of the CH3CO group, gives positive iodoform test, while formaldehyde and propanal do not respond to this iodoform test. So in this way we can easily distinguish, okay, by different compounds having this ketomethyl group, and others are ketomethyl groups are absent. Next we will discuss the reduction of aldehydes and ketones. Reduction of aldehydes and ketones. First we will discuss the Clevenson reduction. In this method the reduction is carried out with zinc amalgam and concentrated hydrochloric acid. For example, we can take that CH3CHO, that is acetaldehyde, and here we have to use that zinc amalgam and HCl. Zinc amalgam and concentrated HCl. Here addition of 4H, okay, nitrogen hydrogen will produce, and that will produce CH3CH3, that is ethane, plus there will be formation of H2O. Next we can take one ketone, that is CH3COCH3. Here we have to add same reagent, that is zinc amalgam and concentrate HCl. Okay, that will produce CH3CH2CH3 plus there will be formation of H2O. So this is propane. This is also called Clemmensen reduction. Okay, the spelling is CLEMMEN, Clemmensen's reduction. Clemmensen reduction reaction. Okay. Next, if we take one aromatic compound, like if we take the acetophenone, that is PHCOCH3, and if we add the same reagent, that is zinc amalgam and concentrate HCl, okay, then there will be formation of PHCH2CH3. Okay, that is ethyl benzene. Okay, plus there will be formation of water. So in this way we can easily prepare the corresponding alkane by reducing this carbonyl group. It may be aldehyde, it may be ketone. Okay, so this method is widely used for reduction of aldehydes and ketones which are sensitive to alkali. Okay, sometimes it may be sensitive aldehyde ketones go to alkali. So that time generally we use this type of reaction. Okay. Next we will discuss another very important reaction. That reaction is called Wolff-Kishner reduction. In Wolff-Kishner reduction we have to take the reagent, that is hydrogen, N2H4 and water, and finally we have to use potassium hydroxide, glycol, and we have to apply heat. If we take one example, then you can easily understand, that is CH3CHO plus NH2NH2, that is hydrogen, that will form the corresponding CH3CH double bond NH2. Okay, if we add KOH, potassium hydroxide, glycol, and we have to apply heat around 453 to 473 Kelvin, then there will be formation of the alkane, that is CH3CH3, ethane will be formed, then there will be formation of nitrogen gas. If we take acetone, that will also convert into corresponding propane. Okay, if we take the acetophenone, that will convert to ethyl benzene. So this method is widely used for aldehydes, ketones which are sensitive to acids. Okay, because here we are using base. Okay, next and the last reduction that is in your syllabus, only 3 reductions are there. One is Clemmensen, another is Wolff-Kishner, another is reduction with HI in presence of red phosphorus. Next reaction is reduction with HI and in presence of red phosphorus. When aldehydes and ketones are heated with HI in presence of red phosphorus at 420 Kelvin, hydrocarbons are also formed. Okay, so here also we can prepare hydrocarbon taking the CH3CHO plus we have to use that hydroiodic acid plus red phosphorus, and the temperature around 423 Kelvin, that will produce ethane, CH3CH3, and there will be formation of H2O and I2. Ketones also respond to this reaction. If we take acetone CH3COCH3. Here also it will react with 4HI in presence of red phosphorus around 423 or 420 Kelvin temperature. That will produce propane CH3CH2CH3 plus H2O plus twice H2. So in this way we have completed the oxidation and reduction reaction of these aldehyde ketones. Hope you can understand. If you have any problem you can ask. We have also the coming Monday we have live classes. Okay. So today up to this. Thank you.